So tell me about SoulPhoodie. What does this mean? Where did it come from? Why? Why do we need it?
Well, it came from a point in my life about 4 years ago where I was struggling with some things and was looking for something else to do outside of my primary career. And I've worked in the restaurant business for over 20 years in a marketing capacity for some big brands, working for some big brands and leading some medium-sized brands. And I was doing some research on Black-owned wineries. And while I was doing that research, I came across all of these amazing stories about individuals that were innovating and excelling as either winemakers or baristas or chefs or farmers, all up and down the food chain. And I've told people before, I was embarrassed. Like, I've been in this game for over 20 years. I consider myself somewhat knowledgeable about the business, but I was embarrassed that I didn't know about fellow brothers and sisters who were excelling in this space. So I put a poll out on my Facebook page, and I said, name the top 3 black chefs that you can think of. And this was about 4 years ago, and I'll never forget. Number 1, Marcus Samuelson. And, I've got a lot of friends who travel and family who travel to Harlem to make that pilgrimage up to Red Rooster. Number 2 was Chef Garvin. And number 3, rest in peace, was Auntie Steve. You remember Auntie Steve?
Yeah, Carla Hall needs to be in that thing. I mean, she should be in the top 3.
I agree. And
that's an easy one.
Yeah. But so like I said, I was embarrassed. So I created a Twitter feed. And really our goal is to inform, educate, and entertain those who are passionate about black food culture by sharing stories and showcasing the talents of brothers and sisters who are excelling and innovating in the world of food and beverage. So it started out as a Twitter feed, and it's just grown. I mean, people are hungry, no pun intended, for learning about all of these stories of people that were hidden and weren't really covered by the mainstream media. And I'll give you an example. This is the example I always give, and I talk about just, if you will, the beverage vertical. So if you start at the top in terms of intensity of drink, if you will, you've heard the story of Nearest Green and Jack Daniels, I'm sure, who was a slave.
Actually, Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright. Last time he was on the show, broke that down for us here. So Jeffrey Wright, the actor, is one of his things. Yeah. So he gave the story of Nearest. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. So there was a lady by the name of Fawn Weaver who really uncovered this and has amplified that story. And so there's now Nearest Green products in the marketplace. So that was one of those hidden stories. If you move on down the scale, if you will, to wine, there's a brother there in New York by the name of Andre Mack. And Andre Mack has this winery that he started, which I think by volume is the top black-owned winery here in the United States. But here, let me give you 2 other stories that I've discovered. You move down to beer. There's a sister in, I think she lives either in Sacramento or out in Seattle area, named Annie Johnson. Annie, in, I think it was 2014, won the National Home Beer Brewing Championship. So they brought all these hipsters from all over the world to it was a contest. And it's this sister who won in 2014, beating out everybody else in terms of home beer brewing. There's another brother by the name of Lim Butler, and I don't know where Lim lives. But Lim, I call he's like the Michael Jordan of coffee. They had a national barista championship, and he won 5 years in a row. This is a dreadlock brother. So there's all these hidden stories, some of them not hidden, some of them that I just wanted to amplify and share with, primarily with black folks, to tell these stories of individuals excelling, and it's a challenging space.
So let me ask you this, and the reason why I brought you on, because I know it's Thrive Thursday, and as Dr. Spriggs talked about, food service is one of the hardest hit, and it's the one that we overrepresent in Black folk and people from Latin Spanish-speaking people as well.
Yep.
How has the coronavirus impacted your business and impacted the businesses that you feature on SoulPhoodie?
Yeah, so I would segment it into different industries. So for like the I know some of the winemakers and these other folks in the marketplace who are selling packaged goods and such, it has been a boon for them, unfortunately, after the George Floyd incident. So America has sort of gravitated to that. They're interested in it. Myself and the other media brands here and the social have seen tremendous increase in following and interest and engagement since that. But specifically to Black-owned restaurants, it has been a challenge. I think I saw some statistics. The National Restaurant Association predicts that sales for 2020 for all restaurants are going to be down 30 to 40% versus last year. And as we all say, when America catches a cold, we catch pneumonia, and that applies to Black-owned restaurants as well. They are struggling. And unfortunately, they were challenged before the coronavirus hit, primarily because, as in a lot of Black-owned business, just the access to capital. And then secondly, and I call it access to intellectual capital. A lot of these people are bootstrapping themselves and starting these businesses, are not adequately capitalized. And so in some cases, they have to work a second job to keep the doors open. They're not in their restaurants, executing, giving great service. So it is impacted many Black-owned restaurants. Fortunately, since George Floyd, there has been a rush to these restaurants, and we've seen a significant increase in both visibility and sales. The question is, how long are we going to be able to maintain that? Right now it's trendy for a lot of folks. Oh, we'll go visit some of these restaurants or purchase from them. So many in the industry are hoping we can maintain this.
You're a Wharton business grad, right? You went to Wharton School of Business, so you understand.
I did.
Yeah, how to run things. Give us a couple of businesses that are going to be that are run well, that we can support to help them stay in business. Give us a couple, and give us one from the West Coast, one from the center, one from the South, and one from the East.
Well, businesses, I like to, and that's really about what I'm about, is sharing these stories, and like I said, amplifying these stories. So let me give you a couple that I would think about. And it's not really a traditional food business, but it helps and it facilitates helping restaurants. There's an app. It's a group of folks actually there in New York it's called Eat Okra. Have you heard of this?
It's called what?
Eat Okra. Like the
Eat Okra.
Yeah, O-K-R-A.
I got it.
Yeah. So
Eat Okra.
It is the app version of the Green Book, if you will, for restaurants. So it's a husband and wife team, and they're in New York City. It's the ultimate app for locating Black-owned restaurants. I think they've been working on it for about 4 years, but it has just blown up over the last 3 months because there's so much interest in it. It's really slick. It's well done. You go on there, it geolocates you to where you are on your phone. It'll have all the business listings like reviews, pictures of the food that they offer, phone number. If they use one of the third-party delivery services like an Uber or DoorDash, there's a link right there in the app. And I haven't talked to them in a while, but I think they've actually integrated Black-owned food trucks. So
I love that.
I would definitely ask that all your listeners download that app, because that elevates all of the Black-owned restaurants in one place. So even if you're traveling or in your local neighborhood. So that's one.
I just invited them. I just invited them on the show because they're following me on Twitter. So I just DM'd them. Give us another one.
Okay.
Derek Kirk.
All right. Let me see. I would highlight, as people are in, as we're still in different levels of quarantine, I would talk about a couple of cookbooks.
Okay.
And the two that come to mind right now are one's called Jubilee. And the lady that wrote that, her name is Toni Tipton Martin. She's really a food journalist and a food historian's sister. And I think she possesses like the largest collection of cookbooks written by African Americans. And what she's done is she's gone back, I think it was over 200 years, and she's taken all that learning and condensed it into this stunning collection of recipes and brought it into 2020 so that you can, make it in your home kitchen. So I know in that cookbook,
that's beautiful.
What have I cooked? She's got apple fritters.
She's got a shrimp dish on the cover.
Cake.
Oh my God, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
This looks amazing.
Catfish etouffee. Yeah, and the pictures in there are just awesome. There's a sister named Jarrell Guy, and in my opinion, and I've been doing food photography over 20 years, she's one of the top Pacific food photographers working out there right now. So that's one. The other one it's called Soul, and the chef's name is Todd Richards. Todd's in Atlanta. If you've ever been in the Atlanta airport, One Flew South. It's not in a terminal. I think it's actually outside of the terminal. That was his restaurant. It's called SOUL. Once again, it's just really stunning images in there. He takes more of a contemporary take on soul food, if you will.
I see it.
Like
it's got collard greens on the cover, like fresh collard greens. Oh.
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, but the food is more contemporary. So I know he's got like a collard green ramen that I've made. It's a grilled peach pimento cheese toast. So it's like bruschetta, but it's got pimento cheese and grilled peaches on it. What else did he have in there? Oh, I know it was. It was a shrimp and grits, but instead of your traditional shrimp and grits, which is cheese grits and sautéed shrimp, he coated the shrimp in grits and fried it. So it's got like a grit. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So I would recommend both of those cookbooks for people who are stuck in and looking for things to make.
That sounds amazing. All right. So, like I've already gotten like a couple of guests. I'm going to invite everybody on the show.
Yeah.
What is it that you want us to? Right. How do you want us to interact with SoulPhoodie? If everyone's listening, we go to the website. What do you want us to do when we get there?
No, I would love it. Just follow us. We're most active on Twitter. That's the domain where we have the most fun.
That's where
but we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram, but we're most engaged, like I said, on Twitter, and it's spelled SoulPhoodie.